This concludes my Fire Emblem 4 Genealogy the Holy War Ironman, and as the story wraps up, Seliph becomes king of Granville, and the closing conversations are quite brief because most of the story-relevant characters are dead. Leif goes on to rule New Thracia, and Hawk now leads Silesia, but the nations of Augustra, Izak, and Verdane are left leaderless, so they turn to Seliph, causing him to accidentally annex several territories. In true family tradition, I obtain my final rank for the game, which consists of an E in Tactics, E in Survival, D in Experience, and C in Combat for an overall rank of D, which is definitely higher than I thought it'd be. Overall, in my opinion, Fire Emblem 4 has many interesting, fun, and humorous gameplay interactions, and it gives you a lot to think about in designing character builds and allocating resources. But at the same time, it is a pretty antiquated game at this point, and it breaks apart if you try to push it to its limits. The large maps are a feature unique to this game, and they create many cinematic moments that uses the game's engine as a substitute for cutscenes, but at the same time, it makes the gameplay quite tedious without using a fast-forward feature. A lot of the combat ultimately does boil down to having one really strong character solo 2 dozen identical enemies on enemy phase. FE4 has something that I like to refer to as jump scare difficulty, where the vast majority of the game is relatively simple, with the exception of a handful of surprisingly difficult individual enemies. Though even then, they're only a real risk if you've lost all of your units and have squandered all of your important resources. Fortunately, in my playthrough, both of those things happened, which made the endgame really interesting. Playing with the substitute units, sadly, was surprisingly not that interesting, just because most of them are really bad, and since I wasn't playing to get a high rank, it's easier just to rely on guaranteed units like Seliph, Ares, and Leif. And as such, I don't really think there's so much value in ranking characters or making a tier list for this playthrough, so I'll leave it at that. Thanks for watching, and if you want to see more videos like this, please subscribe or consider donating to my Patreon or becoming a YouTube member. See you on the next one.